It's Power Hour LSU.
To the field, terror of the tiger, I'ma always keep it real. Everything gon' get devoured, it's the power. LSU with Carter, it's the power. LSU with Carter, man, I'm headed to the field. Terror of the tiger, I'ma always keep it real. Everything gon' get devoured, it's the power. LSU with Carter, it's the power. LSU with Carter, man, I'm headed to the field. Terror of the tiger, I'ma always keep it real. Everything gon' get devoured, it's the power. LSU with Carter is the power. LSU with Carter, man, I'm headed to the field. Terror of the tiger, I'ma always keep it real. Everything gon' get devoured, it's the power. LSU with Carter is the power. LSU with Carter.
Let's freaking go! The streak is over, baby. LSU ends the streak that has plagued us for centuries. They went into this game with a 1-0 mentality, and as critical as I'm going to be of Brian Kelly in tonight's live stream, I give him so much credit all the way back to the beginning of this offseason when the messaging of this team changed. LSU said, look, on our walls at Tiger Stadium, in our locker rooms, we're just going to put the Clemson game up. We went into Death Valley Jr. and took down what many consider to be the ACC favorites. And they were not ready for what was the LSU Tiger defense and an LSU offensive line that had their struggles but found a way to get it done. And on a day that the GOAT college football analyst, the greatest who ever walked the face of the earth, picked LSU to win the national championship, the great Lee Corso, LSU today looked like the best team in college football. Not Ohio State, not Noodle Arm Arch, not Ala Fake Bama, 5-5 since they played Georgia last year, and everyone thought Kalen DeBoer was a second coming. The best team in the Southeastern Conference are the LSU Tigers. And what did I say all offseason? I said Clemson was going to win. I picked Clemson to win. And I overrated them because LSU was more physical. They were the better team. They got in their faces. This fake wide receiver core for Clemson couldn't even keep their feet all night because Mansour Delane decided to say, look, LSU, I'm a defensive back that is the best that has stepped foot in Baton Rouge, Louisiana since Derek Stingley Jr. What a freaking game from number 4. And Harold Perkins listened to all these different podcasts that said, look, you can't play in space. And even I said, hey, Harold Perkins, he could have a tough game in space. But what I also said was life is so much easier when you have one corner that is willing to drop his scrotum on your head if you think you're going to get past him. Mansour Delane said, no, I'm shutting down my side of the field. And he did that. He stood on business. He would have gotten drafted and started on Sundays. He said, no, I am coming to revive DBU. Shout out to number 4. Shout out to number 7. Harold Perkins and Mansour Delane, they were fantastic. Weeks was also fantastic. Sure, he missed a few tackles he would like to have back. But the dude was a warrior. You saw why he wears that number. He wears that C on his chest, looking like Devin White and Duke Riley out there. Really good performance. You saw some really good things from this LSU defense. And I will say, you do not want to miss the film study. Blake Baker, that final defensive call. Holy shnikes. That was absolutely positively insane what he did. So earlier in the game, and this is better for a film study, but I've got to break it down right now. He showed this last year versus Arkansas where he stacks his linebackers and blitzes them downhill. And at the last second, all the defensive linemen crash inside. And then the linebackers become new contained defenders and the quarterbacks run right into the contain. Okay. So We did that last year versus Taylor Green. It worked. We did it a few other times. It worked. So we ran that same play earlier in the third quarter, and Cade Klubnik ran right into a pressure, and it ended up being a sack or a throwaway. I think it was a throwaway. So this time on that final play, Blake Baker decided to do something different. So not only did he crash the line in, he actually crossed the linebackers, the contained linebackers behind the line to make Cade Klubnik think he could run and beat the contain to the right side, and he ran right into Harold Perkins. It was a 20,000 IQ play. It's one of the best defensive calls I've seen. So shout out to you, Blake Baker. The Blake Baker defenders, it was a W for us tonight. He just needed some thoroughbreds in the stable, and he did great. Shout out to you, the safety play. Jake Olson was under a lot of pressure. Corey Raymond had himself a good night as well. Not only getting, we knew Montour Delane could play. He could play anywhere. But P.J. Woodland looked really good tonight. He battled. He competed. DJ Pickett looked ready to go. And obviously, that's Corey Raymond's recruitment. And obviously, some good funding mixed in there as well. But that was Corey Raymond beating out Oregon in all of them. And then sometimes in life, it's about who you decided to not play. So the LSU defense is a story along with Garrett Nussmeier. Garrett Nussmeier is so unfreaking believably good. Did he limit the turnovers tonight? Yes. Did we lose 2 fumbles? Yes, neither were his fault. Now, here's the thing you have to keep in mind. The way Garrett plays quarterback is how quarterback is supposed to be played. Okay? It's how the quarterback position is meant to be played. All right? He's not gifted the athleticism that other quarterbacks have with their legs. But his mind was on one. And a lot of it is just pre-snap tomfoolery to get the defense to declare what they're doing to help indicate man coverage and all those different things. It makes his life easier. It also makes the offensive line's life easier trying to understand what they are going to do defensively. So I don't think Tom Allen at Penn State, now at Clemson, I don't think he had a bad called game tonight. It's just the LSU offensive line was able to neutralize Peter Woods and that pass rush because LSU ran a good variety of plays. Now, could Joe Sloan have done a few different things? Yes, I guarantee you if Joe Sloan quits running outside zone every time we get in a pistol, we're going to start being an even more explosive offense than we actually are. But y'all, we might go until 3 a.m. I might not sleep tonight. I'm that freaking excited. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't freaking believe that we actually got it done. That's a game that we normally don't win. But the truth is, Brian Kelly, as critical as I have been of him, and I won't go into another tirade about what happened at the end of the second quarter, but he has been mostly good in close games. But to me, this was a close game that LSU deserved to win. There have been a lot of close games that I feel we were not the better team, and we found a way to get it done. Okay? So before we go any further, big shout out to Zion Imaging. Big shout out to Labor Therapy. Just spoke to Thomas a minute ago. Really excited about the W. Please go check out Labor Therapy and all their locations in the Lafayette region. I just want to say this. I'm so glad the sport is back. But before we go more into this game, let's talk about the SEC. Alabama did not look good. Texas, Arch looked awful. Awful. This bitch is wide open, the SEC. But LSU deserves to, at the very least, be no less than a top 3 ranked team. How many victories today in college football were better than this one? How many? You can't really say Ohio State. They were at home. And it was more Arch being bad, if anything. But we got more to talk about that for the rest of the year. But now that you beat Clemson, I want to more so focus on this game because we should celebrate games and post games because we turn the page so much in societies. But now, Brian Kelly has been given a mulligan. He almost coached us out of this game tonight. We had the better team. We had the better roster. Did we necessarily win the line of scrimmage per se? I won't go that far, but we did better than all the pundits, including myself, thought we were going to. this team has got to make the college football playoff. It's got to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This roster, if it does not make the college football playoff, you deserve shame and mockery until the end of eternity. You've got to make the college football playoff with the quarterback this good, a corner this good, a defense this good. There are no excuses. None. I know it's just one game. This is by far the best defense we've had. I know the 2022 group was great. They were really great. Really, really great. Okay? And it's probably unfair to them to not let this season fully play out. And there are some players on this team that were also on the 2022 unit. But the truth is, this defense is better. It should be better for the rest of the season. Okay? But we'll see what happens. All right? We'll see what happens. Let's get to your super chats, and then we're going to go. I got a lot of different things I want to get into. We'll obviously get into the box score here in just a moment. Thank you. And yeah, join the Patreon. It does grow a lot. It does help a lot. You can also join our YouTube membership. The first YouTube member that joins tonight, I will send you an LSU autograph. All you got to do is hit the join button. Or if you join the Patreon tonight, I'll send you an LSU autograph. If you join tonight, after this glorious evening, and you guys know, I do like giving out a lot of my autos, but I'll give out some good ones tonight. We'll give out a few DJ Charks. Might give out a Patrick Peterson if we get really feisty tonight. Let's go to Cody Death Valley Jr. I love it. Soko, good to see you. Thank you so much for your super. Thanks to our first Hundo super in a while, Van. Big shout out to you. Gorilla, give it to that online. They played really good. Blake Baker, man crush anyone. Dude, when Blake Baker was hired, I was called a Blake Baker Glazer. I will gladly be called that from now until a very long time. It was that good of a performance. Let's go to Rai. That defense, Perkins is a top 7 pick, and Delane's an effing boss. That was one of the best cornerback performances in LSU history. This game tonight was one of the best I have ever seen. And that's saying something. Okay? It was definitely the best since Fulton Stingley era. And now I will say Jarek and Garner were really good a few years later, but and Elias Ricks has a few mixed in there, but it really was that sweet. Let's freaking go, Yusha. Good to see you. Trey Beatty. D is nasty. Love to see you. 1-0 Grant. We move on. Good to see you. I jumped into a conversation with Grant a little bit earlier. Sam, one of our many patrons. Good to see you. Go really. Good to see you. TJ. Looks like we're shaping up for a riveting Nuss versus Diego Pavia Heisman race. Also, the Patreon is the best investment you can make as a Tiger fan. And Fox, welcome to the membership. There you go. It's just a good way to support. If you join the $9.99 tier, I will find a way to get you in the Discord as well. But, you know, the Patreon is where you're going to get all the extra film studies. Still trying to figure out what all I'm going to do for the PHL Patreon and all of it, but we could discuss that later. But thank you, Fox, Mick Fox. So there you go. Now, a few more things. Let's talk about Caden Durham, a very underrated game for him. We all know this is not the best offensive line. We all know this is not the best rush scheme. He also had a good outside zone run that was cut up the middle, that was taken away from a penalty that had nothing to do with the play. We just were not aligned properly. So Delane was great tonight. I thought Weston Davis did some good things in this game. Braylon Moore was really good. Okay. Now, I do think, and this is just, actually, I'll save this for later because I want to keep this mostly positive. But, you know, we do also need to recognize that this win was better than any win we had last year. It was. I know that, you know, as high as I was, I'm jotting this down to talk about this a little bit later. Okay. I know Ole Miss is probably a better team than this version of Clemson. And we did beat South Carolina, and South Carolina might be better than this version of Clemson. But tonight is different because we were the better team. Okay. We were the better team. And that's why we get into the box score. Presented by our friends at Fast Draft Fantasy. Sign up now, promo code Carter for a deposit match bonus up to $50. Fantasy drafts that last no longer than 20 minutes. Fast Draft Fantasy. Sign up now. Okay. So, what do we always do in post-game shows? If you're new, we take a look at the yard per play numbers. LSU yards per play, 5.1 compared to Clemson's 4.5 yards per play. Let's be honest, 5.1 yards per play is not good. Okay, a college football playoff level offense is a 6 yard per play game. But we do need to calibrate it just a bit, all right? It's pretty clear that this Clemson defense is really good. Garrett Nussmeier had some very high-level plays in this game that would have beaten NFL defenses this year, okay? If Garrett was playing against some NFL defenses, some of the throws he made tonight would have been complete. That second ball to Aaron Anderson that needed to be slightly behind him, and Aaron caught it against his leg after the big screen. That is one of the best throws I've seen Garrett make. He might be, including, the two goats, the best intermediate middle thrower of the football I have ever seen at LSU. Okay, he's not as good as those guys. We'll see how the rest of the year plays out. But, this was a tough and well-earned 5.1 yards per play. Okay, the second thing I want to bring up, and, live chats can get very frisky, if you will, if you start getting into this subject that we will discuss right now, which is refereeing. LSU did not have the favorable whistle in this game. The calls went heavily in Clemson's favor, as you expect when you're on the road against this team under those lights, okay? Clemson got away with a few tugs. I don't like talking holding too much, but I do think the pick play was a blindside block. I do think so, right? It's a legal pick, but whatever. And we could talk all we want, and we'll get back into the box score in just a second, about Barian Brown's touchdown catch. So let's first discuss the LSU wide receiver room. There's so many comments in the Discord and just, me personally about Chris and his involvement and the end of the second quarter and all of that. Chris is a very hot and cold player. It's not the end of the season for him. He's probably still the best pure field stretcher on the outside that we have on this roster. The Barian Brown touchdown catch was from the slot. So I still think Chris still has a role on this team. But, you do have to factor in who his two big games were against last year. It was against Oklahoma, who wasn't playing for anything, and a Baylor defense that got torn up by Jackson Arnold. So, while those were really good games, it's tougher to produce versus the best of the best when everybody's locked in. So it's not the end of Chris Hilton just because he wasn't involved tonight. But tonight, Barian Brown was fantastic. He's very one thing about Barian was when I watched him, I felt like I wanted something a little bit better after the catch. This is a word I like to describe wide receivers with after the catch. I want you to be visceral. I want you to be violent. I don't necessarily need you to break tackles, but I need you to shed them, right? I don't want you to necessarily run over people, but I want you to glide by them. And, one thing for those that don't know, so we did the halftime stream, and LSU started playing good, so I did the entire second half, okay? So I might not have the same energy as what I did because I've been live for so damn long now. But basically, when you heard me during the entire second half stream, I kept saying Clemson's wide receivers are just not violent. They're frisky players. They're good at breaking tackles. They're just not violent. They're soft. They go down easy. It showed on film. We brought it up in the Kate Klubnik film study. Okay. And, I will say LSU, for me, I thought if they were going to win this game, it was going to be a type of game like this. I want to shout out Jay Smacks. He said, look, Jay Smacks is our shorts editor. He was like, Carter, let's do one more cut. And I said, LSU can win a 17-13 kind of game that's just ugly, even if the offensive line doesn't play great. And they actually played fine tonight, in my opinion. But LSU is just, when I watched them, it felt like that they were the more physical team at their skill positions. And one thing Barry and Brown did a good job of was being physical. The catch that was taken away from him was a physical catch, right? It was a slot fade that was thrown perfectly, and he got robbed. Now, to me, it's going to take an actual referee to break down that entire process. But for me, when I'm looking at that, they ruled him first out of bounds. So what I'm guessing here is if you go out of bounds, you don't need to complete the process of the catch. But since he scored a touchdown, you needed to complete the process of the catch. Or the second part that's kind of weird, and maybe that's not the case. I think you do still need to complete the process, even if you are going just out of bounds. But it seems like it's more of an emphasis when you score a touchdown. Maybe I'm wrong on that. The second thing that's weird, though, is on the graphic, it said that they were reviewing if he scored a touchdown or not. And then the review became, did he actually catch it? Can you actually do both? Can you actually review multiple things at the same time? Is it the most blatant robbing of a reception I have ever seen? Not really. I don't think it's the worst thing. Like, the ball did move when he hit the ground. It's just the rule sucks. I think everybody that watched that, I think if you were to ask 20 different people who have some knowledge of football, did he catch it or did he not? It's clear that he caught it. Okay. Let's go to King Ulysses. Buster, one of our many patrons. Good to see you. Let's go to TJ. Barryon Brown and Aaron Anderson separated themselves tonight. That was the only thing that was made clear about the wide receiver room. Yeah, Aaron's really good, y'all. I mean, it was a quiet first half. I also want to show some love to Kyle Parker with a really nice third down conversion catch on the Garrett rollout. That was Weston Davis's best rep tonight as well. God, that was just a really good catch. It really, really, really was by Kyle. And he's a team player. I think Kyle Parker earned himself a role on tonight's in tonight's game. He made some really nice blocks. And this is a good lesson for any wide receivers that are out there watching tonight's game. Kyle Parker was incredible blocking tonight. Early in Kyle Parker's career, when they played him some, they had him out there as a blocker, and he got his ass leveled. I mean, really put on his rear end. And then last year, he blocked some, and then he got hurt, so he didn't really play. And then this year, he gets a big catch that everybody's going to remember, but it was a blocks. Uh-oh. You know it's big when Mr. Zion Imaging, a busy man, he's doing weddings and events, XYAN Imaging, XYAN360.com. Book your booth today. But Dex, who watches the game really closely, he might watch the game even closer than me. He picks up on stuff that I don't see. Kyle Parker really blocked his ass off tonight. Dude, it's really sexy stuff. When you know how hard it is to play wide receiver already, his blocking, was fantastic. Okay. Also, let's talk about Juwan Johnson. I just want to be positive. We'll talk about a few negatives. I don't want to get on another Brian Kelly rant. I cussed him out plenty enough. Juwan Johnson had himself one hell of a football game tonight. He really, really, really did. And, man, you talk about someone that's playing DB, then playing quarterback, now playing running back, now playing wide receiver. I'm sure he would like a more featured role, or he would like to go play quarterback at, Northwestern or somewhere like that and put up, 2,500 yards or whatever. But he's got himself a role on this team. Okay. Ed, thank you for the super. I appreciate it. Is Durham RB1? Are you talking about for this team or the SEC? Yeah, you can make a case for Le'Veon Moss. You can make a case for, I don't know, Jaden Ball, maybe? I don't know. Definitely not Quintravion Wisner. James says Durham made more mistakes than needed and isn't shifty or fast enough. Welcome to the channel, James. All right. If you want to say the beginning, did Caden Durham make some mistakes tonight? Yes. Vision isn't his strongest suit. All right. There are yards left on the field. And he isn't shifty enough. Sure, all running backs can say, yeah, I would like to break a few more tackles. But the last part, James, since you're new, I'm going to let it go. But you can't say, of all things, if Caden Durham isn't fast enough. You can't say that. And then you said Xavier Thomas seems to find the gaps much better and have the open field speed. Yes, because he is a wide receiver. You're not always expecting him to get the football. He's being motioned in, which makes it easier for you to run. Now, you're making a good point about Xavion's runs being mostly effective. When we've run those counters with him, one thing I will say is we quit doing it after the USC and South Carolina game last year when we had success doing that. So it is good in week 1 to see Xavier back in it, but Xavier also deserves a role on this team moving forward. Okay? He does. A lot of people earned themselves some snaps tonight. Let's go to John Sibley with a very generous super chat. Given the portal, do you think that we should rank teams after 2 weeks? It's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I think of the portal society, like for instance, how bad actually is Texas? We don't know. Like tonight or earlier was mostly a one-person problem. But then again, Jeremiah Smith didn't have a good game. One thing I will say, and I don't know what it is, and I know Pierce is a big wide receiver nerd like I am, but you take a look at the super hyped up, all-time great wide receiver draft class of next year. So true sophomore wide receivers. Jeremiah Smith, 2 drops. Ryan Williams, not good. Wesco, not good. Ryan Wingo, not good. They couldn't get nothing going. Also, I think that most of these Heisman projected quarterbacks are way overrated. So yeah, let's talk about that. The best QB play for Castellanos. Yeah, I think Castellanos, with how much Shiite he talked going into the game, he deserves to be the Heisman favorite. Nobody had more on their shoulders, especially in the social media era, than him, and he put on a show tonight. He was really good. And I was one of those doubters. How do we change the method for projections? I don't think you can ever get away, change the polls, right? But the Heisman projected quarterbacks, are they way overrated? Yeah, Arch was today. How bad was Cade tonight? I don't know. He did some really special things. I don't know if he was bad. I don't know if I would say Cade is bad. But the better quarterback was number 18. What's up, Cliff? Good to see you, man. Good to have Reggie back. Reggie, man, it's good to see you fighting, bro. Let's go, Reggie. I'm not worried about recruiting right now, though. You know I love you. But the last thing if I do not, if y'all want to really get me mad, oh my God, do not ask about a certain decommit right now. Because I swear, people that talk recruiting on actual game days, when we have recruiting chatter for months and we finally get actual games, I get a text from a friend. Hey, did you see that wide receiver decommitted from LSU? What's the scoop? I blocked that number. I'm serious. I blocked that number. I hadn't talked to this person in forever. It was a college buddy. I want to unblock it because he's a nice guy, but he was like, is the NIL wrong? What's going on? When the truth was, I'm not going to get into the truth because it's not worth it. But the truth is, I'm more worried about LSU. But yes, 2026 recruits, come on in. Why not? Let's go to Buck. I like that your name is Buck and you're holding a buck. Like, what the Buck? Yeah, Harold Perkins was fantastic tonight. Definitely his best game since 2023 Missouri. And then, obviously, nothing will ever beat Arkansas. I don't know if we'll ever see a performance like that again. There you go. You still owe me a bloody shirt. See, we've had so many like inside jokes on this channel. I don't know what the hell that even means. We've had so many like late night jokes after streaming for like a gazillion hours. A bloody shirt. Bloody shirt. Cade is still young. His comp is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Andrew, welcome to the channel. I do not think they are very similar really at all. If I'm being honest, Clyde, like, I don't know if I ever see a running back better at jump cutting and seeing the game like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Caden is like Clyde dreams of having Caden speed, right? But I guess I could see your comp as far as like size is concerned. But to your point, you know, Caden, like I do think as far as Durham is concerned, I can't believe someone is even, and I'm not talking about you, Andrew. I don't remember who it was that said, yeah, I don't think Caden played that well tonight. You know, obviously when I go back and rewatch the game, I'll give you a better assessment of it. But I think Caden played well. I really do. It could just be that I'm such a like Caden stan and like a lot of my reputation. I've put a lot of hype on number 29 shoulders. I thought he was fantastic tonight. Well, I think fantastic might be strong. I thought he was very good. On a scale of 1 to peak Caden Durham, I would say it's probably a 7. And that's good. Do we pass Notre Dame in the rankings? We got to be top 3, though. Maybe Jeremy Hill. Jeremy Hill's bigger, though. Caden Durham is like better version of like Jaden Blue, if you ask me. Death Valley Jr. Look, all right. So I want to get into the critical part of tonight's live stream. What I said about Brian Kelly at halftime is not going to be well received Okay. I cursed his ass out. For those that missed the halftime, it was the most I've cursed at the beginning of a live stream in a very long time. It really was like just horrendous. Okay. Now, why did I do that? Because that was the worst coaching I can remember. It clearly was. Now, I understand that many people have gone to defend Brian Kelly about this decision. Okay. But what would the optimal situation have been in that spot? So you throw the football to Chris Hilton. He catches it and he scores. Okay. That would be the optimal decision to happen in there, right? And obviously, Garrett might have checked into it. We won't ever know the full thing unless Brian is directly asked about it, okay? So you're in that spot. Then let's say he doesn't score. Because it's not a guarantee that he scores because you're not throwing it into the end zone. It's fourth down. You pick up the first down. You're probably going to be tackled inbounds in that spot. All right. You have to get up and spike it. So you had 15 seconds left. You throw the screen. You pick up the first down. You have to rush there, spike the football, and now you're left with 7 seconds. So in 7 seconds, you probably have only one opportunity to throw a jump ball, preferably to Trey Green. Okay. I get it. He caught one in the second half, but they weren't expecting it. It's a lot easier if you're expecting it. You put two guys out there. You can even dare them to run. So let's just say you pick up that first down, and now you're at the 5 or 4 yard line or whatever it would have been. From the 5 or 4 yard line, with the defense knowing that you have to throw the football into the end zone, your percentages of scoring go even lower. All right, so you got to first catch it, pick up the first down. You have to get up there and spike it. If you have a false start penalty or anything, the seconds run out. Then you have to complete a ball into the end zone with the quarterback who has not mostly been good in the red zone in his career. It could be it could still be intercepted. I think you have to kick the field goal in that spot. And you guys know I am the most aggressive fourth down decision guy you will find on YouTube. I've defended Lane and all his fourth down shenanigans 90% of the time. That was bad. But one thing I will say is that the shit talkers had their day today. Brian Kelly, Death Valley Jr., Thomas Castellanos took care of business, stood on business. I give Brian Kelly a lot of credit. The messaging worked. LSU really looked like they were the team playing like there was no tomorrow. Like they were really treating this as a Super Bowl, a playoff game to them. So the messaging worked. Brian Kelly backed up his talk. And here's the one thing I will always give Brian Kelly a lot of credit for. And I've gotten into 1,000 different shouting matches with all these other media members who I respect wholeheartedly. And their points still hold true. And I agree a lot with them about the 8-game versus a 9-game playoff. Okay. Brian Kelly is not a bitch. He is not bitch made. And Clemson with the AJ Halsey suspension situation I don't know. We'll never know exactly how that originated. LSU was fearless. That is the one thing I'll always say about Brian Kelly, is I could talk about and pick apart all his bad coaching decisions, but he is fearless. 9-game conference schedule, no problem. No problem. Give it to us. Athletic director agrees with them. Give us a 9-game conference schedule. They have been saying that since they've been in the SEC. Nobody has been louder about 9. Everybody's loud about staying at 8. From the media in the SEC to the coaches and the ADs in the SEC. Obviously, everyone got paid to go to 9. Brian Kelly said, F it. Let's just go to 9. Let's do it. Brian Kelly probably could have called Scott Woodward, Verge Osbury, and said, look, let's not schedule these anymore. No. SMU, come on down. Let's do it. Let's go. Clemson at their place, season opener. You saw what that other guy did last year, right? Lincoln Riley, from a reputable reporter that he was trying to back out of LSU USC. We can criticize Brian Kelly all we want. And I understand he is getting paid a pretty penny. And he's got guaranteed money, and he's got a lot of job security. But there are a lot of coaches that would fear going into Death Valley and winning this game. He embraced it. So I give him a lot of credit. I really, really, really do. He has thicker skin than a lot of us. And you're right, Steve-O. The Gringo, good to have you back. He might be too fearless. Let's go to Cosmos. Good to have you back, man. How about that O-line shutting down the noise about the Clemson D-line with all the first-rounders and top 10 picks? Dude, what a good performance. Let's go to Blake. He says, I think there are better defensive lines on the schedule for LSU. And you think that the Clemson defensive line is overrated? So now I'm officially, actually now I'm 0 for 5. I'm 0 for 5 in season openers. I picked LSU to beat all the last opponents. So mark it down. I have LSU losing to Clemson when they come to Death Valley next year. Oh, man. Okay. Charlie, all the way in Philippines. There's not many people celebrating harder than Charlie. But yeah, I think at this point, when you see these way too early mock drafts, you're going to see Garrett Nussmeier number 1 on all of them. Let's go to Ryan. Thank you so much for the super. I appreciate it. Goes a long way, my brother. Francis, thank you for the super chat, brother. Send a cash app. Goes a long way. Thank you, man. Let's see here. God, tonight was great. Fine bum like me. Pick Clemson. What do we know? I also picked Texas this morning. I also had Alabama going to the college football playoff. Shows you how much I know. But Lee Corso knows best, picking LSU to win the Natty. Let's go to Sydney. My God, I can't believe this is Sydney from my Tiger TV days. What's up, Sid? Sid Vid, my man. That makes my night. Good to see you, bro. Love seeing old friends from the BR days. So he asked, what do I think our record will be going into South Carolina? Well, at the very least, okay, I misread your comment. What's your record prediction for LSU after week 1? Okay. This team has got to go to the playoff. There is no questions asked at this point. This team has got to go to the college football playoff. And in order to make the playoff, you can't lose more than 3 games. All right. This team is a lock to get into the playoff if they only lose 2 games. Unless Clemson falls off a cliff, which they might. I doubt they will. Clemson probably still makes the playoff, even with Florida State winning the way that they won today. Clemson probably still will find a way into the playoff. So LSU probably has a win over a playoff team. They probably do. Okay. So now, another thing that LSU did today that was really big was winning one for the SEC. Because Alabama getting tossed around by Florida State today wasn't great. Ohio State beating Texas, even though it wasn't a blowout, Texas not looking so great, wasn't great. Okay. LSU going on the road and beating Clemson kind of saved the SEC today in the big marquee games. It would have not looked great if we would have been 0-2 in the ACC when we talked as much as we've talked in the offseason. So, for me, Sydney, I had LSU as a 9-3 team in the playoff. And now they've got to go 10-2. This roster has got to go 10-2. It's got to. And then he says, will South Carolina in Death Valley be the biggest game of the season for the Tigers? All right. So, yes and no. So, let's just say this happens. And this very well could happen. Let's say LSU beats Clemson like they did tonight. South Carolina beats us. And then Clemson beats South Carolina. All right. So you have a weird 3-way going on here. And boy, have I been in that situation before. No, I'm kidding. Never a weird one. I'm kidding. So, Sydney, to your super chat. I don't think South Carolina is the biggest game. No. Honestly, with Alabama losing the way that they lost today, there is a very clear path to 11-1. Now, Alabama will be at home. So still, let's be honest, LSU just didn't go into Clemson and beat their asses. We weren't the best coach team tonight. The offensive line still has issues. But the truth is, can we find a way to still get it done versus Florida and Ole Miss and South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M? Had some issues with UTSA tonight. Then Alabama, Arkansas, Oklahoma. Okay. Here's a problem, though, with the Brian Kelly messaging, and it is a bit of a concern. It's not a huge concern for me, but it's a semi-decent sized concern, okay? And that's coming up right after this.
Are you missing that sweet swing? If pain is holding your golf game back, you must check out the full simulator at the Lafayette location of Laborde Therapy Center. Yes, Chase and his team built this simulator to go along with a full set of programs catered to your needs. Yes, this entire team at Laborde Therapy worked hard to fix that back, your elbow, shoulders, wrists, knees, toes, it doesn't matter. At their Lafayette location, 337-981-4053. Call today. But what if you don't golf? And what if you don't live in Lafayette? No problem. They fixed anything therapy related. Book today, LabordeTherapy.com, with locations in Carencro, Youngsville, Morgan City, and Crowley. LabordeTherapy.com. LABORDE therapy.com. Let's go.
All righty, and I want to shout out the PHL Patreon as well.
Are you a die-hard LSU fan? And would you like to understand the complex game of football better? Well, sign up today for our PHL Patreon. This is his second touchdown. Counter G, why you're pulling the guard. We dive deep on recruiting and the transfer portal at a level that you have never seen before. Film breakdowns from so many different angles, and my personal favorites, oh yeah, the analytics, baby. I like to get nerdy. We take a look at cutting-edge statistics that help all of us understand LSU football even better. And guess what? Every new sign-up gets a Joe Burrow card in the mail for free. But we got to save the best for last. Our private Discord community of LSU fans from around the globe. Sign up today. Patreon.com/LSU football and put your name on our wall of patrons. Special thanks to everybody who's on here. Let's freaking go.
All righty. Let's give this out. Okay. How about this? We hit the hundo mark on the super chat. Who wants autographed? Only 20 copies of this card on the planet Earth. Arden Key, good defensive end night for LSU. It was a fine defensive end night. Jack had a really good play there at the end. Patrick had a few good pressures on that final drive. Who wants it? Who deserves it tonight? How about our first ever member? Mick Fox. If you're still listening, shoot me an email, powerhourlsu@gmail.com. It's yours. Fox, you have 10 minutes to claim it. All you got to do is claim it in the chat. And I'm sending you Arden Key card. Let's give out another one before we talk about Brian Kelly and messaging. Oh, basic card right here. Not basic. Talk about grit. These two were gritty right here. J. Russ, Dwayne Bowe, Jamarcus Russell, the first back-to-back 10-win quarterback ever at LSU. We had a few since then. Dwayne Bowe, let's get those out. TJ, what's good? Solid night for special teams. You are correct. Xavion's game is going to be very underrated in this game. Like, it is going to be so under the radar. So I would love to know this. How many players have thrown a pass, caught a pass, had a carry? I know Malik Neighbors had a game like that versus Purdue, but it wasn't a carry. It was like a little pop pass. And then he also returned a punt. I just burped into the microphone. All right, Bless says, I love the aggressiveness of Baker, but that will cause us issues against better equipped teams. Okay, let's talk about this. But first, the messaging. The downside of Brian Kelly's messaging of 1-0 is that you really need to get your team focused for the next game. I know it's just Louisiana Tech, so it'll give us, a soft landing spot here, but we do need to turn the page because this was a Herculean game tonight for us. But this wasn't our season, all right? This was not our season. It felt like it, but it wasn't. Now, as far as like turning the page is concerned, I think we'll be fine. One thing, though, that is fascinating to me is tonight was a good lesson. As much as we want to talk about Sloan and scheme and all those different things, all right? One thing I feel I do an overall really good job of is when I dig my heels into a player take, I feel pretty confident I'm right about it. And sometimes in life, it isn't about who is playing, but who is not playing. So this is something that you could take in your own life, right? Sometimes it's not about who you hang out in your friend group or who you work with. It's who you don't work with anymore. It's who you don't hang out with anymore. In all walks of life, relationships, works, all those different things, okay? And in sports, it matters. It matters so much. The most important decision every coach will make is who you play. It's not necessarily recruiting the best players. That is as important as who you play. But who you play is as important as who you recruit. You have to know how to deploy those players, okay? So one thing that happened tonight was two players who struggled a lot last year. They really, really, really struggled a lot. Was DJ Chester and Ashton Stamps, okay? Now, they played a lot during spring. They've played a lot during fall. They did not play tonight. And what happened? So those are very difficult questions to ask because those two guys do the right things. They work their ass off. They, in particular, Stamps has exceeded expectations. But they didn't play. So why does that matter? Well, you guys watch the film studies. You watch the live streams. By the way, if you are new here, live streams every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays at 6 p.m. Central. And then, of course, pregame, halftime, postgame will go live tomorrow night along with the film study. Who are the two players we kept saying, wow, it is absolutely ridiculous that they were the two players that led LSU in snaps played in their respective positions? So it's a lesson that this game has so much more to do with who's out there. Okay, so now really think about tonight. The two players that solved those two positions came from the conference that we beat tonight, the best team in the conference that we beat tonight. So what does all of this mean? Well, two things. Number one, you have to be willing to make the difficult decision and the right decision of who to not play, despite those players being loyal servants to the program and despite those players being guys that everyone likes. Okay. And Chester stepped in admirably when Adams went out, and we'll probably still need him at some point. Offensive linemen go down all the time. We'll probably still need Ashton Stamps to play some DB at some point. But they're backups. All right. Those are difficult decisions. And I commend those two for being a team first types of players. You know, Ashton Stamps still played some special teams tonight. That shows me a lot. It shows me a whole hell of a lot. And I commend those two. But LSU got some roster decisions right tonight. And I feel, and obviously it is just one game, but really think about it. DJ Chester was your starting center, and he was a problem every single game. Now, did Braylon Moore go out there and look like Olin Kreutz? No. Or Connor Lew of Auburn, who is phenomenal. If you haven't seen Connor Lew, the center for Auburn, play, he's phenomenal. No. But you know what Braylon Moore was? Good. He was Charles Turner. And Mansour Delane was superb. Okay. Now, ask yourself this question. Does LSU win this game tonight if both of those players aren't there? You don't know. It's at least close. Or even closer, or maybe not. It's why this game is so hard to coach. It's so hard. It's so hard. And those two players probably aren't bad players. It's just really hard to play. It's really, really hard to play at this level. Welcome to the membership Sourdough Man. Good to see you. What a day. What a freaking day. Let's see. I want to talk a little bit more about Garrett, if y'all don't mind. Alan Black, Sourdough Man. Let's go. Welcome. See how it has a cool logo next to his name when he chats? Okay. I want to talk about Garrett, dude. Like, Jaden and Joe are just so supremely athletic compared to Garrett. You know, Joe was 6'4", burly, big guy, very good runner. And Jaden obviously is just one of one. There's only one other quarterback on earth who's Jaden, and that's Lamar Jackson. They're their own planets. They're on their own stratosphere. But Garrett is not 6'4". He's not those things. And boy, did he have command. And I will say it till I'm blue in the face. He is one of the single most valuable LSU football players ever. Ever. Behind those two, he might be number 3. And quarterbacks are always going to be more valuable than every other position. So I'm not saying he's better than, the real legends of LSU football, but Garrett is well on his way. Okay. There is just so much shit he does that gets us in the spots that we need to be in to win games. And here's the thing that really stands out to me. All right. So I do a lot, and I mean a lot, of Arkansas Razorback content for Power Hour SEC. A lot. So I have watched almost every single Taylon Green throw. And you know what else is crazy is Taylon Green is really good on third downs. He has some of the most incredible third down conversions you will ever see. But they're never on time. He'll miss an open guy and just run around because he is so ridiculously athletic. He's Milrow fast. He's Jaden fast. I mean, he can run. Some of the most ridiculous things. And Garrett does not have that. Now, he is a good athlete. He is powerful. He's thick. He's got some mobility. So he's not like Max Brosmer back there or anything like that. He could scoot some. We saw some good runs from Garrett tonight. But for him to be the best third and long quarterback I have ever seen at the collegiate level is stupid. Like, you would think, if you were to ask me, hey, who are the great third and long quarterbacks? I would think it would be someone that's like Lenore Sellers or someone that can run when everything's covered. Garrett somehow just finds ways. That Barry and Brown 3rd and 10 conversion, I don't know how he does it. I like, doing the preview film studies, rewatching every LSU game as they're getting ready for Clemson, seeing him first down after first down after first down on 3rd and 7 or longer, 4th and 4, 4th and 7, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 10. And now he has the ability to scramble, or the want-to scramble. Y'all are witnessing something special. You should wake up and slap yourself in the face knowing that you have gotten to see Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, and now Garrett Nussmeier? Really? You know how stupid we are? Like, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at Oklahoma. But how many this 3-year run is crazy. I know there's a Miles Brennan flip-flop year mixed in there with some Max Johnson. But y'all, this is stupid. This is stupid. Like, Garrett is so damn good. So damn good. And you wonder why I would slam the table and defend this guy. And, and yet a big thing in a lot of the critics out there, and me included, were the turnovers. He eliminated those tonight, which were huge. The deep ball accuracy was better, which was huge. The scrambles were better, which was huge. But my point the entire time regarding all of that is, even with him doing that, he's still one of the best quarterbacks in college football last year. Yes, Cam Ward was better. But how many quarterbacks outside of Cam Ward last year were 10 times better than Garrett Nussmeier last year. There's a few. I mean, Will Howard in the playoff is one. Dylan Gabriel, sure. But are those guys 10 times better than Garrett Nussmeier? Are they 5 times, 2 times better? Probably not. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, Garrett threw us out of the Texas A&M game. Sure, I'll give you that all day, every day. The South Carolina pick was bad. Yo, we are not close to that South Carolina game. Close. Even with the backup quarterback going in, we are not close if Garrett wasn't on our team. We are not close in that Ole Miss game if Garrett is not on our team. Baylor probably beats us if Garrett is not on our team. He's that damn good. He is that damn good at this game. And you guys, I don't just defend LSU players just because they play for LSU. I try to give you the best objective analysis as I possibly can. The dude just goes out there and finds a way. And if you go, like if you're new to the channel, or you could just do this now, you can go to my homepage, and there's a video that auto plays every time you go to my homepage. It's the LSU Ole Miss film study. And if there is a motto of the Garrett Nussmeier era, it's the clip I played from LSU at the beginning of the LSU Ole Miss film study, which is, I got to find a way. That's what he says. He's yelling at his team when we're losing, final drive of the game, to go down there and tie it. He says, I got to find a way. We got to find a way. And that dude just finds a way. He just does it. Runs a 4.8. Arm is good, not Josh Allen arm. He's just good. It's fun to watch. He's just good. It makes it fun. It makes you feel like that you could go out there and do it, which we can't. But there is a relatability factor to it as well. That's cool. I don't care if the quarterback is like semi-relatable, but I do cheer for the shorter, unathletic quarterbacks. That's why, I was always somewhat of a fan of Bryce Young, because he doesn't have the biggest arm and he's not the biggest guy. And obviously Drew Brees, not the biggest arm, not the biggest guy. It's so much harder to do this. Now Garrett is 6'1.5", 6'2", but it's ridiculous. It is so ridiculous how good Garrett is. Yeah, Jordan Gilbert had a good day tonight. Is this the Juice Williams of Illinois? Yeah, the pivot route to trade as was bad. Wasn't a good throw. Oh yeah, Pegasus, I agree. But I don't agree with the ending of this, though. He does some stuff I wouldn't approve of, but he's my QB, so we'll take it and roll. Garrett's not a take it and roll QB. I can't go that far. We'll take it and roll? What is this, a fire drill? Are we stop, dropping, and rolling? All right. Let's give this out. Fox McFox. So Sourdough Man, this will be yours. Now I want to go back to Ryan's super chat. Xavion Thomas. Ryan's always been a Xavion guy. I remember you commenting about Xavion in the past. I want to show this because this is the only clip that I know that I have pulled up. They get taken down all the time on YouTube. So you guys ignore like the Cash App stuff on here. So this was the call we were talking about earlier. Okay. Actually, no, I'm not going to play that. It's got too much going on here. You're Drake in disguise? Huh? Love to see it. let's get to I can't get a decent stream here. That sucks. Thoughts on the Bama game? Well, it's forever. It's like forever away. You're all right, dude. John Gilbert played amazing. I was trying to find some decent Brian Kelly audio. I guess nobody got audio. Nobody got good audio of the Brian Kelly press conference, so I'm not going to play it. Let's go to Edward O. Why run on 3rd and 11? Well, I thought it was a good call, honestly. I because they had converted a lot of 3rd and longs running, and they I honestly agreed with that decision because it makes it a more manageable throwing situation as well. If you get stopped short. Let me go on ahead and I'm just going to go and play this Brian Kelly audio. It's not the best. I normally like to play some BK audio. And because I criticize him so much in this live chat, I want to let him speak his piece on how the ending of the first half actually went. Okay. So let's get to it.
Obviously, I'm so pleased for our players. They've worked so hard. Our staff, they made the plays today. And you go on the road and play a top 5 team, you have to win the game up front. And we limited them to 12 yards rushing in the second half. We had the ball for over 30-something minutes in the second half. We controlled the clock. And look, that's a formula of winning football games when you have 2 really good teams. And our guys cleaned up the turnovers, and we made some big plays when we needed to on defense. So proud of our staff, our players, and just the resolve. You know, to win these games, as I said, there's tactical things that I just mentioned. But you got to have some grit, and you got to have character. And these kids listened to all the doubters and said, you know what? It doesn't matter. Let's just go out and play the right way in the second half. They did, and again, really proud of our players and happy for them and our staff.
Coach Harold, how are you guys able to unlock? How are you guys really able to unlock Harold this game. TFL is the sack. What were you guys able to do to really unlock him in the game last night?
You know, Harold is coming on. I mean, you know, he's healthy. He's at a position that has been one where he's had success, and Blake can utilize him now as the player that he is. As you saw, he pressured the quarterback a lot. That allows you got to play some man-to-man. We weren't in that position last year to play a lot of man. And, of course, we lost him to the knee injury. So it's just a different roster with different players, and it allows Blake now the tools necessary to, utilize Harold in the manner that he can best impact the game.
Coach Steve Reed from Associated Press. Klubnik comes in as the first team All-American.
And he's a good player.
No touchdowns, and limited throughout the game, got pressure. What were you able to do to slow him down?
You know, I think getting him out of the pocket. Now, he got outside a couple of times to contain and kept some plays alive. But primarily, get him out of rhythm. And I thought we did that very, very well. And we took his running game away. Any quarterback that doesn't have a running game, it becomes predictable. And we had some predictable down and distances because they couldn't run the football.
Coach, you told us on Monday about press conference you wanted to have after this game. Just what do you think your team was able to go out there and do tonight to allow you? Just kind of what do you have to say about that? Now that we're 6 days.
Just step back for a second. The first thing you need to have when you go on the road and play a top 5 team is confidence in the belief that you can do what you need to do. And our guys believed that they were going to win the game. They really did. The next thing is you got composure. We had some mistakes early on, but our guys composed themselves at halftime and played with great composure. And I think the third thing is you got to compete and put the last play behind you and go to the next one. And to me, that's it. Play with great confidence. Know that you can do this. And they believed it. And they played with great composure on the road, and they competed every single play right to the very end there on 4th down.
How happy are you flip the narrative?
Those narratives were never anything that we bought into as a program. We know, look, people build up the first game to a level of craziness. I mean, you look at the quarterbacks, that are under incredible scrutiny. So I just think that in this business, you really have to stay focused on what your job is. And my job is to bring a football team on the road, play with great confidence and composure, and compete their tails off for 4 quarters. That's my job, and not to worry about what other people say or do. I get it; it's out there, but that they didn't put me in this position to worry about those things. I've got to go do a job, and those kids came through tonight, and they deserve all the credit in the world.
John,
just the overall play of the defense. Like we've been waiting on this, they can win the game for you there at the end. With the new addition.
We've said from day one is, we needed. We've had offenses here the last few years that could move the football. We needed to complement with a defense that could stand the test. And you go on the road and play a top 5 team, you better bring a defense. And we knew that we were going to be that defense that needed to step up big. I thought Blake called a great game. Our guys, each one of them came up and made individual plays. There's too many to mention, though. Mansour Deland got the game ball for some of his big plays. Again, I think it's just, we have the depth and we have the competitive depth that allows us to compete at a high level.
Ryan, at the club, some pretty big goals on the both sides. How do you think the new guys step up and play?
I mentioned Mansour, right? I mean, and the way he played tonight. I think the other thing that gets overlooked is we controlled the second half with our offensive line, and that's a reworked offensive line. And so Braylon Moore at the center position, that's a transfer. Josh Thompson that came in from Northwestern. Those guys did a fabulous job in anchoring that offensive line as a veteran. And then we, obviously controlled the football. And I think they had, 9 minutes of in the second half. They had the ball for 9 minutes. And so you've got to win up front, offensive line, and then the 12 yards rushing. Yeah, and that's him, right? I think I lost we lost it. Can you hear me? Okay, great. We lost Witt for a couple of plays, and I asked him if he's okay. He goes, "I'm just starting. I'm just getting going," and so he just has that smile on his face. He's fun to be around and coach, and to be a leader on our football team and a captain. You can tell why I'm so used to it in terms of what a football player looks like. Yep. Opportunity, and I thought tactically we did different. For instance, that I listen. Back at Shay and Monday. Yep. Look up in those mistakes. Can't show, and then you move on to the next play. And
Yeah, I don't think he got asked about the end of half thing. Yeah, I don't know. I wish he was asked about that, but got to give Brian Kelly a lot of credit getting it done. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, let's talk about a few other SEC games. Ohio State, yeah, they'll probably be number one, as they should be. Defending champs, getting it done. But God, Arch looked bad today. He looked like the 2 to 3 star rating that we all thought he should have been, or most of us thought he should have been. I always felt Arch was not the best QB in that class. I thought Nico was. Ended up being wrong on that. But then again, how many quarterbacks would survive his environment? And by environment, I mean his family. So, yeah, maybe that quarterback class was just not as good as we thought it was. Who knows? But Arch being the clear-cut 5-star number one guy was kind of weird. I think some of it also was the steam he was getting from all the different schools. Tell him, Samuel, 1 and mother effing 0. Let's go, James Smacks. You got a lot of different things to choose from to cut tonight. What a dub. What a freaking dub. This score right here. The cathedral of college football. The Death Valley. The real Death Valley. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I've now been live for 3.5 consecutive hours. We'll keep this thing moving. Next 10 to 15 minutes, I'll answer as many questions as we possibly can. If you super chat, we'll keep it moving. My thoughts and prayers go out to Wilson Alexander, the LSU beat reporter. He's going through it right now with his wife, who's currently battling a very vicious, evil disease. And so Tiger Stadium lit up gold, which has been kind of, their rallying color around Alice. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. And Wilson was supposed to come on with us, and then he's going through the worst thing imaginable right now. So my thoughts are with him. I love his coverage. I read his tweets, his work all the time. So if you are a praying type, it is soon to be Sunday. Please keep him in your thoughts. And truth be told, I don't know Wilson that well. I've met him only a few occasions. So But yes, and it was funny because we crossed paths in at MD Anderson. So, my thoughts are with Wilson. Now, the next thing outside of this, as an LSU fan, it's important for you to have standards. Okay. And now there are no excuses. None. You have a year 2 QB. You have plenty of weapons. You've got to make the college football playoff. I'm not saying you got to go win the thing. Elite Corso thinks you're going to win the thing. You've got to make the playoff. That's all there is to it. There's nothing else to it. You've got to make it. You've got to make the CFP. Okay? That's it. There we go. PHL legend Branson Cat coming in hot. Thank you so much, Branson Cat. The superstar. BC. I think about you whenever I say third in Ponchatoula. But the drought has been broken. And Branson, I'm sure you were at the game. Stop pump faking. SPF. I said in the summer this team will go as far as Garrett takes us. I seem poised, confidence, and trust his team before his arm. Beautiful checkdowns. Nice play calling on both sides. Go Tigers. Yeah, Blake Baker coached a masterpiece today. It's also crazy that one thing that happens at the end of every Clemson game is their fans storm the field. It's a tradition at Clemson. So LSU fans stormed the field after the game, as you can clearly see. Look at that. That's crazy right there. Mansour Delane. Insane, dude. Legendary. Honestly, it really was that good. Another thing about the defense, so that was a player's parent that texted me at the game, and He was one of the many that kept saying, Carter, this team is together. This defense plays together. This team works together. It is nice to have a defense against Sourdough, man. Let's go to TOV. Someone's going to try and throw a bag at Baker. Yeah. The name to keep an eye out for there is Tulane, because I think John Summerall is about to have another big year at Tulane, and he'll go to a bigger job, and then the Tulane job will open up again. Because Summerall's a really talented guy. So that job will open, and then, well, does Baker take it? I don't know. Here's the thing, though, is let's first see how the rest of this season plays out. And then the next thing about Blake regarding his future, he is making $2.3 million to coach his defense, okay? His wife went to school here. So, as a defensive coordinator, you get to just coach. You do one media appearance in the spring for the press. You do one in the fall. And then outside of that, you probably have, as far as like public speaking appearances, maybe 10 to 15, where Brian Kelly has that many in a 2-week slate. So it's a different ball game, where if you become the head coach at Tulane, you're fighting the portal every year. You're fighting funding just for the sake of being a head coach. So the game has changed as far as you going to another school. So, it would have to be something like Levy gets fired and Mississippi State is open and they decide to go defensive, right? Thoughts on Mabenga without the film study? So I think part of the Mabenga struggles last year when he played, number one, is he was never supposed to play. So Tyree Adams was the top option, backup option at left guard. He has a surgery midway through the season. Then he steps in, okay? So part of the problem was Mabenga having to play next to a center who was struggling a lot. So Mabenga without the film study held up. Were there a few blown blocks in there? Sure, but we'll see. Let's go to Cash. Why wasn't Chris Hilton playing? Is Brown that much better? Barry and Brown that much better? Okay. Here's a problem I have with this comment, okay? So why wasn't Chris Hilton playing more is a good question to ask, and one that a lot of us are asking ourselves. But I'm trying to be as nice as I can about this, because this comment isn't as much about Chris, but when someone says, why isn't X playing more, or why isn't this player playing more? Well, we won the game. And the LSU offense was good tonight on the road versus Clemson. Now, were we elite? No. So Chris Hilton, if he were to go to the LSU coaching staff, let's just say Brian Kelly said, hey, Chris, state your case for playing more. Well, number one, he didn't start the game. Number two, the wide receiver rotation was crazy. And number three, we averaged only 5.1 yards per play. So Chris makes our yard per play numbers go up because he is an explosive play superstar. Okay. But the LSU offense was not bad. And I wouldn't say it was even mediocre. 5.1 yards per play with a brand new 5 on the offensive line is good. It's good. It's not great. So the thing is, the LSU coaching staff's job isn't to figure out a way for so-and-so to play more or to get X amount of touches or Y amount of snaps or whatever. The coach's job is to go out there and win the game. That was part of the problem with the Harold Perkins debate is so much of the Harold Perkins debate was, what do we need to do to have him succeed? When we should be asking the opposite. Why is the defense not succeeding when he's out there? Well, what we learned tonight is that it really ever wasn't a Harold Perkins issue. It was more of an issue of everything else. LSU had the worst safety play in the SEC for years now. That got fixed. All right, Texas's safeties are probably still the best in the SEC, but ours are at least top 5. After today, you can make a case it's the best. Jarn Gilbert, Cooley, and Halsey. The corner play got better. Having just one good elite corner makes your safeties and linebacker play that much easier. Okay? So, DJ Pickett played well tonight. PJ Woodland played well tonight. Mm. Mm. Oh, it does, Pegasus. But it's weird because you're trying always to get in the perfect play, right? And when you do that, you get lost, if you will. Question already answered. Thanks. Oh yeah. No, thank you, Tiovi. I appreciate it. Perkins potential best defensive player in college football by the end of the year. It's going to be hard for anybody to beat Caleb Downs. But yeah, Perk was really good tonight. Delane was really good tonight. If I were to rank the defensive players, I'd probably go Delane 1, Perk or Witt number 2 in some order. And the safety play was just amazing tonight. It really was. Mm. Mm. Yeah, I get that, Pace. It's all the checks and stuff like that. It's crazy. It's a lot. Ooh. It was also cool to see, you know, this is also a weird thing about the game of football is Mason Taylor was there, best tight end ever at LSU. Will Campbell was there, arguably the best left tackle ever at LSU. No matter how you view them, they both probably need to be in the top 5 of those positions in the modern era of LSU football, no matter how you actually look at it. Miles Frazier was also at the game. They leave, and you win tonight. This is the beauty of football. It's never about one person. It honestly never is. It's what makes sports so daggum great. It really is. Okay. It's never, ever, ever. Okay. Now, 2 people move the needle more than anyone else, your head coach and your quarterback. Ask Alabama about that today. I'm sure Jalen Milroe smoked a big old fat cigar behind Alabama fans' backs today. And I wouldn't blame him. So there you go. Now, that'll do it for me. Big shout out once again to Zion Imaging, xyanimaging.com, and of course, our friends at Laborde Therapy. Okay. LABORDE therapy.com. Really appreciate both of them. We wouldn't be able to do this without them. Okay. Now, coming up next, I will be diving deep into the world of LSU film. We'll post a film study more than likely in the morning on Patreon. We will post our player grades. I say player grades. We do position grades. It's near impossible to do player grades thoroughly. So I go through and I wasn't able to take as good of notes because I was live for a good bit of the game. But we go through and evaluate all the position groups and all of that. And we will post grades on Patreon. Okay. Shout out to all our top super chatters. Van from earlier tonight, a hundo. TJ, Fox, Black Goatee. Well, actually, got to scroll up. Boris, Court, Cody, Michael, Go, Rilla, Cody, Rai, Yusha, Trey, Grant, Sam, Black OT, TJ, EJ, Ed, Sibley, Ryan, Sourdough, TOV. And then, of course, Sid on Venmo. We got a Cash App as well. I really do appreciate you guys. This is literally how, I make my moolah. Francis, thank you so much. It is Power Hour LSU. Boom! Tonight, we are doing chicken enchiladas. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, yeah, we got new shirts, by the way. Bonfire. Let me know if y'all think these are fire. I haven't made one sale. I actually haven't shown it until tonight. Thickness shirts. Wait, where's the purple one? Oh, did they just cancel the purple one? Oh, no, that's a pullover. Who doesn't want a purple thickness shirt? Huh? Gonna get you one. I'll post the link right here. Tonight we are doing chicken enchiladas. Let's go.